Madison, thank you so much for that report. Now, I do want to get to some breaking news that we are following right now on an international story we've been tracking very closely. The International Criminal Court now issuing arrest warrants on Thursday for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, his former defense minister, and Hamas officials, accusing them of war crimes and crimes against humanity over the war in Gaza and the October 2023 attacks that triggered Israel's offensive in the Palestinian territory. The decision turns Netanyahu and the others into internationally wanted suspects and is likely to further isolate them and complicate efforts to negotiate a ceasefire to end that 13-month conflict. But its practical implications could be limited since Israel and its major ally, the U.S., are not members of the court, and several of the Hamas officials have been killed in the conflict. Netanyahu and other Israeli leaders have condemned the ICC chief prosecutor Karim Khan's request for those warrants as disgraceful and anti-Semitic. U.S. President Biden also blasting the prosecutor and expressing support for Israel's right to defend itself against Hamas. Hamas also slamming that request. Quote, the chamber considered that there are reasonable grounds to believe that both individuals intentionally and knowingly deprive the civilian population in Gaza of objects indispensable to their survival, including food, water, and medicine, and medical supplies, as well as fuel and electricity. That is a quote there from the three-judge panel. They wrote that in their unanimous decision to issue warrants for Netanyahu and his former defense minister Yoav Gallant. The Israeli Foreign Ministry said in September that it submitted 2 legal briefs challenging the jurisdiction of the court and arguing that the court did not provide Israel the opportunity to investigate those allegations itself before requesting the warrants. Quote, no other democracy with an independent and respected legal system like that which exists in Israel has been treated in the prejudicial manner by the prosecutor. That is a spokesperson there providing that quote from the Foreign Ministry. So again, we've been knowing that this was coming here for quite a while, but the International Criminal Court issuing those arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, his former defense minister, and some of the Hamas officials. Do want to go international right now. Take a look, as these are some photos as Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu paid a rare visit to Gaza. Netanyahu offering $5 million for the release of each and every hostage that are still held after the October 7th massacre. In the meantime, the Senate expected to vote today on legislation that would block the sale of weapons to Israel. The resolutions of disapproval, as they're called, were filed by Senator Bernie Sanders and co-sponsored by Democrat lawmakers. They do say that Israel is obstructing aid shipments needed by Palestinian civilians in Gaza. However, due to strong bipartisan support for Israel, those resolutions are not expected to pass, but are more symbolic in nature. The Times of Israel reporting via U.S. officials that the Biden administration has reached out to Democrat lawmakers, urging them to vote against the measures. U.S. Special Envoy Amos Hochstein says that a ceasefire agreement between Israel and the Hezbollah terror group is, quote, within our grasp. He traveled to Beirut as Hezbollah fired another barrage of rockets into Israel, and Israel struck Hezbollah strongholds in Lebanon. Israel says it was Hezbollah that on Tuesday targeted UNIFIL peacekeepers and facilities in southern Lebanon, injuring 4 peacekeepers in just one of those incidents. UNIFIL, by the way, is the United Nations interim force in Lebanon, a United Nations peacekeeping mission that is aimed at restoring international peace and security. As always, so much to discuss, so I do want to bring in a friend of the show now, Benjamin Anthony, the co-founder and CEO of the Miriam Institute. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here and break it all down, as again, there are a lot of developments.